Alright guys, sorry, lack of a cameraman means I have to do this all myself, so this is going to look less professional than you would prefer, and I honestly do not care, so take that to the bank. Alright, now I'm going to be reading out of Philippians, yes, the Bible, Philippians 2:12 through, let's do 12 through 16, part of 16 anyways. You all know the passage pretty well. I'm sorry, 14 through part of 16. Now I know this is a short passage, and you're thinking, well, how are you going to base the creative part of your project off of this? And for those of you watching, if you didn't know this was a project, now you know. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God, without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky, as you hold firmly to the word of life. I chose this passage because this is what I struggle with the most. I grumble, I complain, and then I grumble some more. All the time. Math class. Anyways, to the real point of this, and if you read the entire passage, it's basically saying like, hey, I'm in jail, guys, because Paul's writing this. He's saying, I'm in jail, guys, and this is what I want you to know. If I do die, do this, so that you can also go to heaven. He's saying, I'm willing to be a sacrifice, but I don't know if you are. So start here. And, I mean, he lays it down. He's like, don't grumble, don't argue, or like, the way I learned it when I was a kid was, do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God. That was the part I learned when I was a kid. And how I took it at first was like, if I complain and argue, I'm not a child of God. So, long story short, my childhood, I must have been a demon child, much like Pearl from the Scarlet Letter. Matt Wright, Hannah Sachs, Philip Hersey, Ben Peters understands that joke. I'm sorry if I missed anybody that's in honors English class with me. Don't think I did. If I did, I'm incredibly sorry right now. But, I mean, that's how I took it at first. I was like, wow, I'm a terrible person, which Eric Markham would still say that I am a terrible person, but Eric Markham's not here right now, so tough luck. But, I mean, just reading that, like, you're like, okay, don't argue, don't complain. Cool. And then you don't think about it, but you argue and complain all the time, probably. I mean, if you're anything like me, you do. So, I mean, it's not like, oh man, I just argued. Like, dude, sorry God, man, I messed up, please forgive me. And you argue with people, and then you walk off, you're like ratchet, until you get out of their sight. And then, I mean, if you're like me, anything like me, when I argue with my parents and they leave, I'm still grumbling under my breath about like, this isn't fair, and how can you do this? And then, I mean, but you don't think about it when you complain either. When I complain, it's like, Mom, there's a new Hobbit Lego set out, and I want it so bad. And she's like, do you have money? It's like, yeah, I just don't have a car. She's like, well, I can't take you. Mom, you're not even doing anything. She's like, I'm cooking dinner. I was like, Mom, just make easy, Mac. Please, just something easy. But, I mean, this is what I struggle with. I don't know if you struggle with this. If you don't struggle with this, then I don't even know why you're listening to this. This is a waste of time. I'm not even being funny right now, but anyways. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, why spend all your time arguing and complaining and arguing and complaining? I mean, you probably waste a good amount of your life that way. I know you spend, Mr. Hamilton says this, he hates the fact that you spend 1/3 of your life asleep. That's because he's a type A personality. He's just made that way. Like, he wants to get stuff done, and he likes to get as much done as possible with his life. That's a commendable trait. Nobody can deny that. But, I mean, think about that. You waste 1/3 of your life sleeping. Then you waste a good amount of it watching TV. Why add grumbling and complaining to that? Because then you're watching TV is just, compared to what you could be doing, which is productive, is you could be doing something like, I don't know, learning something, a new trait that you want to learn, like leadership. Maybe you want to be more outgoing. Maybe you want to build something. Maybe you want to learn how to teach somebody to do this once you learn it yourself. Maybe that's you, maybe that's not. Maybe you're okay with being the follower. Maybe you're okay with wasting a lot of your life doing this. But in the end, what he's saying here is, once you stop grumbling and complaining, it says you'll shine like stars in the universe. To put it in the words of an artist that I loathe with every being of my body, shine bright like a diamond. And I know I didn't say it like she did, because she says it in this completely messed up voice that just doesn't even sound like singing. It sounds like she's choking on, like, let's just say turtles, because I didn't actually have a funny thing to say she was choking on there. But I guess she beat me to it. Anybody that just heard me say beat me to it, you probably know that I'm making a pun here involving the artist of which I'm talking about. That was not intended. But to cap this all off, I saw this illustration done by Francis Chan, great evangelist. He does really nice illustrations. I was at NYC, which is the Nazarene, it was the Nazarene Youth Conference, which, Luke Goodman, sorry, I just stole your shtick, but anyways, he's gonna kill me for that, isn't he? Oh well. He makes fun of me because I'm adopted and Native American, and he always does. That's so racist. But, oh, Joey, I just realized, Joey, you're in Hamilton's class too. And Lubinek. And Karis. I am deeply sorry. Anyways, the Francis Chan illustration. He had a rope, super long, we were in the KFC Yum Center, which is, as Mr. J probably knows, and any Louisville basketball fans out there, that's their home court. It was in Louisville that year, NYC was. And he did this crazy illustration where he had a super long rope that would have gone from end of the court to the end of the court, went from bleacher to bleacher. And it was all white, except it had a red piece of duct tape on it. The red piece of duct tape, he said, represented our lives here on earth. And the white rope was an eternity, either in heaven or hell. So why spend your life grumbling and complaining, wasting time, basically, when you could do something else and just spend the 60 to 90 years, if you're lucky enough to live that long, the 60 to 90 years you're here, just doing what Paul is asking you to do. Don't grumble, don't complain. You'll live good lives. Be the martyr, be the sacrifice. And then everything else will fall into place. And then spend the rest of your life endless party. Food, light, friends. I mean, you're going to go to heaven. This is my dream. I deeply admire a lot of people in history. I want to meet George Washington. I want to meet Abraham Lincoln. I mean, I don't know if JFK went to heaven with his track record. I don't know. I'd like to see Benjamin Franklin, but he wasn't a Christian. So, like, I'm ripped about that, but there's people I want to meet in heaven. It's not like, oh, I'll be a Christian just so I can meet GW upstairs. Be like, what's up? You got us our freedom from Britain, and that's why we're America. You're pretty cool. Secret handshake. And then, that's a good reason. Like, that'd be really cool. I don't think anybody can deny that, like, oh, dude, you're going to heaven to just see people that are famous, that are dead, that were also Christian. Like, that's lame. People are probably like, that's pretty cool. So are you going to waste your life here and then just spend an eternity in hell, which I know makes me sound like those guys with the loudspeakers in the corner that's like fire and brimstone, like, oh, you have a tattoo. Sorry, dude, you're taking the elevator down when you die. But, like, if you grumble and complain, that's not what God calls you to do. You're not being a good Christian. You're being what Mr. J taught us was a lukewarm Christian. And God's like, you know what? I like my water hot or cold, so, I mean, you get in my mouth and you're like dirty dishwater. I'm spitting you down the drain, so. It's just, you can spend your entire life grumbling and complaining and wasting your life, and you're just going to end up nowhere. Or you can just admire, look for the good stuff in life. And that's all you do. That gets you, not a ticket to heaven, but it gets you on the right track for heaven. You're going to live a happy life here. There's going to be challenges. You'll have to gruel it out sometimes. But then, you go to heaven and streets of gold. And if you don't like streets of gold, if you're anti-streetist, sorry, but I'd like to have my mansion. If I get a mansion, depends. But I'd like to have a house with a street of gold out front. A lot better than having a lake that's on fire all the time as my view. And I like it quiet, so the whole screaming and gnashing of teeth thing not really my thing, if you know. But anyways, I've been rambling on for a long time. So don't grumble, don't complain, don't argue, don't bicker with one another. That gets you nowhere, because honestly, what are you going to do when your time's up? You're going to look back at your life and be like, there's these people that I hate. There's no reason to hate them. So that's my spiel. That's my view of Philippians 2, 14 through 16, part of 16. To be accurate, I don't want to be that guy that's like, anybody that takes anything out of the book of Christ shall be taken out of the promises in these book. These book. Yep, that's what I said. I said these book, because that's proper grammar. Now Hamilton's going to kill me. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. And this is where the camera would usually just cut away, just stop. But I'm a one-man camera team, so I'm going to have to get up and awkwardly turn it off, and it's going to look really unprofessional. It's probably going to drop my grade. My grade was like, man, he's got some good stuff. It's kind of weak humor. Wabam. Camera. The filming section right here. There was a wall here that I had to get through for good, filming. And, just kind of T-boned it. Didn't really get through. Fender bender. I'm gonna quit wasting your time. That's all I got.